The Martian weapons in Mars Attacks are a series of advanced warlike devices of retro-futurist aspect, inspired in the classic stories of alien invasions and adapted from a series of collectible cards that were launched in 1962 by the Topps Company. In the story, the Martians have a very cruel and sadistic behavior when it comes to kill, enjoying torturing and experimenting on humans to cause terror in their victims. In the movie and collectible card series, the Martians attack humanity by four principal means: the handguns, the ships, the giant robots, and giant insects. The Martians use handguns in the shape of rifles or pistols that fire atomic beams that can vaporize all the soft tissues of the victim and burn the bones. Although the Martians can be seen using weapons in the form of rifles and pistol guns, some of them are also seen shooting green beams and others with red beams, but it isn't shown at any moment if they have different capacities. The Martians can also use guns that are capable to shrink their enemies to the size of an insect, so that way they can smash them. The Martian ships have the classic look of the flying saucers in pop culture. Their color in the movie is silver, and they are 115 feet long in diameter. They spread a group of legs that are similar to those of crabs, which enable them to stand on the ground. They are very fast and resistant ships, capable of dodging combat airplanes easily, and of bearing all kinds of fire artillery from the armies of the Earth. They are so resistant that some ships even crush deliberately against the airplanes to destroy them. They can fire atomic beams with which they can destroy entire buildings in just a shot. In the movie, it's also shown that the ships can detonate with such accuracy so as to sculpt faces at Mount Rushmore. Apart from the atomic ray gun beams, the Martian ships can also fire freezing beams so powerful that not even the sun could unfreeze the victims. The ships have a mechanical arm capable of carrying heavy weights and that Martians use in multiple ways depending on their needs and fancies. One of the most terrifying abilities the Martian ships have is that of causing huge seawaves when shooting their beams against the ocean waters. With this, the Martians get to shatter a lot of coast cities, devastating them in its entirety. The ships also have a tremendous carrying capacity, as they could carry hundreds of giant insects that were released in the countrysides and cities to find and kill human beings that had managed to survive hiding. These creatures terrified people even more than Martians. Huge colonies of giant insects emerged on the outskirts of the city from where the insects made night infiltrations in search for food and human victims. The creatures frequently carried humans to their camp, where the poor souls would be defenseless. The powerful insects were strong enough as to take 180-pound men through the air. Well disguised, the Martians hardly discovered the shelters while flying over them in their saucers. However, when the insects were free, the danger of being discovered increased significantly. The flying creatures felt the presence of food, and with their increased appetite and size, the insects attacked the shelters. The Martians had managed to enlarge and control all kinds of insects, from mosquitoes and ants the size of bears or truck-sized spiders to caterpillars as big as the Eiffel Tower in Paris. The Martians succeeded in controlling an army of insects, which luckily the US Army could confront, making use of flamethrowers, artillery, and helicopters. The last of the main offensive weapons of the Martians were robots. More than 50 feet high, they were of many kinds, but most of them had in common to be very resistant and having hands shaped like pliers. There were robots with legs and wheels like those of tanks, and also there were some of them that could be controlled by a remote control. But although these robots could have been real demolition machines, they weren't indestructible. In fact, Because of their size, they were slow and easy to detect, and it was relatively easy to make them lose their balance and knock them down using traps and bazookas. The Martian suits accomplish different functions, from protection in combat to nitrogen supplies, which is the gas that Martians breathe. The resistance of these suits varies during the movie, cause in some scenes, the suits are able to resist shootings, and in some others they are not. Even the protective helmet can be destroyed at a few hits, but if we pay attention enough, the ones who are able to resist shootings used to be the Martians that act like bodyguards of the Martian ambassador. Reason why we can guess that Martians who have the most important ranks wear suits that provide a better protection. From his part, the Martian ambassador has a fake hand in his suit that can move independently to attack an unaware victim. Another device that was used by the Martians but on the defensive ambit is the bomb-devouring drone, which looks like an oboe with a leather ball, and it can absorb the detonation of a nuclear weapon. It's also shown in the story that is depicted in the collectible cards that the Martian cities are protected by force fields that protect them from nuclear bombs sent by the Earthlings. As an additional note, in the collectible cards it is explained to us that the Martians use solar energy to charge their weapons. A curious aspect about the Mars attack story is the reason why the Martians attacked the Earth, which is explained in the first card of the collection. The Martian leaders voted and decided that Mars had to attack the Earth for the reason that the life in the fourth planet couldn't last any longer. The Martian scientists had informed its government that the atomic pressures had been accumulating under the surface of Mars for many years, and it lasted very little for a gigantic atomic explosion to be produced, which would destroy all the life in Mars, turning the planet into a wasteland. In order to protect their civilization's survival, the Martian officials planned the conquest of the Earth. It is shown in the movie that Martians are absolutely impotent at the song of Slim Whitman, Indian Love Call, which explode their heads. When they figure this out, the song starts to be broadcasted in all the radio stations of the world, and it's played in big speakers on board of tanks and jeeps, with what they finally get to finish with all the Martian invader forces. At the end of the story, the Martians are also destroyed by the Earth armies using conventional methods, and consecutively after this, the Earth launches an invasion for Mars, in which they succeed to crush the Martian cities and escape before the planet is destroyed. In movies like The Earth Against the Flying Saucers and others from the time, they show practically the same weapons from Mars Attack. That is because the classic ray weapons were a trend from the famous novel of H.G. Wells, The War of the Worlds, becoming a cliché of this genre. Tell us, which of all the Martian weapons do you think is more terrifying? Did you know the classic cards game? Answer in a comment. And if you liked the video, hit thumbs up to let us know. And if you want more content, subscribe to be up to date with all our new videos. Greetings and aim well!